This is a video of some illegal immigrants in Dallas. Let's watch. Chat, would you agree with the following 3 words? Just press 1 if you would agree with the following 3 words. Target, rich, environment. Not for killing, but they have put themselves all in the same place, haven't they? Like, we're technically supposed to be deported right now. Oh, okay, then. They can make it easy for us. Yeah, so I see this, and you might think this is unrest, this is chaos, this is Trump's America, he's making things worse. This is just the last cry of a broken system. You don't even need to deport every single one of these, but you deport most of them. You deport most people like this who are illegal to be in the US. Put it this way, the people complaining, a lot of them are illegal immigrants. So you deport them and there will be less complaining.
Even if it's a white person from Nebraska that's there with them, deport that motherfucker too. Get him out of here. I don't want him here.
Well, either way, it's the problem. It's making itself very loud and apparent as it's being solved. I see this as, well, shall we say, an absolute win.
I think so too. It's delicious salt.
I don't. Some of you do, and you have good reason to in this case. But I don't particularly revel in human suffering. But when this is not suffering, this is abject entitlement and rage at something being taken away they never deserved. So I have no sympathy for the people complaining here. People who are being carried out of their homes and thrown back over the border when they've lived in the US for 10, 20 years. I have some sympathy for that, but I'm not saying they shouldn't be deported. Avalon says, it's always funny when someone flies a foreign flag in a country he's deathly afraid being deported from. Yeah. At least try and convince us that you're actually American. Don't just say, we're Mexican and we're proudly illegal. Come on, guys. I've had to think about optics quite a lot in the last month. And that's bad optics.
That's bad optics.
Yeah. All right, let's continue to the next thing. We've got a few more videos like this as well.
Sure, let's do
exactly the same, but there are more videos on deportation, on the deportation topic. Has been a good week, hasn't it? Cool. I've been looking forward to talking about the deportations and not having to just talk about cabal drama.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
So this is about the legislation being pushed through. New Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman Byron Donalds, both really good people by the looks of it, by the way. Tim Scott and Bernie Moreno, don't know as much about them, but I assume that they're all right as well, are set to file legislation with new sanctions on Colombia for refusing to take back migrants. So this happened, I think Ravelon was saying earlier, like once the sanctions were proposed, it was like an hour before Colombian president capitulated. So this is already resolved. This is funny to follow through. Anna Paulina Luna and Byron Donalds, from what I've seen, have been pretty great. Byron was Wes's preference for vice president, for whatever weight that carries around here anymore. But yeah, he seems fine. They both seem great, and so they're both right up on this. So if you ever had any doubts,
I don't know much about either one, but I agree with you from what I've been reading about them the last month or so. They seem fine.
Yeah. For anyone that has any doubts about like, well, you're going to elect these MAGA people and they're going to do nothing. Not so far. So far, they are doing stuff. So that's good. And I do have some bad news for you, though, Years. You say that you don't know much about these two people, but they seem to be doing good things so far. I do have some bad news for you. I'm afraid you can't like them.
Oh no, why?
One of them is a woman, and one of them is black.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't hate people based on sex or race because not a single one of us has any control over that.
Everywhere you go, you have to clarify. I'm not actually that racist. I'm just kidding.
No, I really am. I'm just a nice person.
I know. I'm just kidding. But yes, for my part, at least. I'm sure that for years as well. They're doing good stuff.
Look, man, there were even Jews in the Third Reich, so I'll accept people as long as they're on the same team. Like, it's
was the Third Reich aware of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
There were many loyalists to Germany who were even up to Michelings. That means half and half. There were plenty, but
I wonder if they were just last on the train rather than being accepted.
It did end up that way in the 40s, but that's because I think we can blame meth for that. But that's a different conversation. The point I wanted to make is, just because I care about racial integrity and the racial well-being of all of us Westerner people, that doesn't mean that I don't think that non-whites or whatever can't be on our team and want that too. Like, if a Mexican or a black guy or an Asian guy or whatever wants the things I want and he's willing to put his skin in the game to make my country and my people succeed, well, I'd be a fool to not accept that. Like, that's fine. Like I said, like that black dude, that Byron guy, he seems fine from what I know about him, but I don't know much about him. But he's saying and doing all the right things, so that's good. So again, I don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That doesn't mean that I'm okay with biological erasure of white people, but these people don't want that. They seem to want the kind of things I want to change. So far, so good. I ain't going to complain.
Yeah, I do think, and I've thought for a long time, ever since we sort of hang out on streams sort of around the time you first joined Cabal, that came to the conclusion that we have a very different lens for politics, but we actually agree on almost everything.
Yeah, because, I mean, well, when you look at policy and how I want to live, I think you and I pretty much want to live in the same way. Like, I'm not some crazy far-right guy that wants, staunch authoritarian right-wing Christian whatever.
I'm terribly sorry to interrupt you, Motch. If you noticed something about the audience channel. Sorry, yes, please continue.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Please continue.
Oh, okay. Oh God, I lost my place. I don't know what. Give me just a second. What was I saying?
You were saying that you think we want to live about the same way, that we actually agree on a lot more.
Right. Like, no, I'm not into like weird extreme from where we are politically, because I think that that's a fool's errand. These people that want National Socialism or hardcore fascism or, Turbo Ancapistan and all that, you people can want that as long as you want. You ain't going to see that during your lifetime. That ain't coming. I have a much more even-keeled desire for politics and economics. I see what's in front of us and what's coming on the horizon, and you just have to lean into it. Like when you see a wave coming on the ocean. Well, that wave's going to be bad, so what are you going to do about it? You have certain options, and you have to take them. Would it be ideal if there wasn't a big wave coming? Well, yeah, but you got to deal with it. These guys
will do about it. Scream and cry and shout.
My point is, like, I want to live in a country that I was supposed to have. I like the Anglo way. I like less involved government, optimized personal freedoms, and transaction of business, trade, and ideas. I like the availability of people to come and go from my country as long as it's not bad for us. I like the idea of being able to trade and to plan and to do research with brilliant people from anywhere in the world. Those are all good things. But that doesn't mean I devalue my own race. It doesn't mean I devalue my own ethnicity here. It doesn't mean I devalue my country. And I think that maybe it's just because I'm pure Anglo going back all the generations I know of, but I like the Anglo way. I like the sort of mix of, classic liberalism, capitalism, and state republic stuff that the founding fathers made in America. And, it feels right to me. It feels like how people are supposed to live who are like me. I ain't saying that the way I want to live is going to be good for a Chinaman, but it's good for me and you because we're Anglos.
I think Chinamen want something quite different. But yes,
I think so
indeed, the freedom from being owned by another is one way of putting it. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what we've got next on the table here. Oh my God, it's so slow. And Capistan indeed, says Stuart. Yeah, a lot of those radical ideas, they don't really have the balance of all the aspects of human nature. To
this
make them
is
possible.
the one thing I have to say to the Ancapistan guys is, if you want to take all of the trade regulations away and you think that private institutions will do a better job, well, what has been screwing us over for the last 50 years? It's companies and NGOs and private institutions.
They would argue that
Like-
those can only do that with government assistance, and that's not a terrible argument. But we'll come back to that, yes.
It's not, but
So,
anyway, sorry.
for those unaware, this Charlie Kirk says, the president of Colombia is a literal cross-dressing Marxist terrorist whose revolutionary group killed hundreds of Colombians. America should not and will not be bossed around by the terrorist president of foreign countries. So here's an excerpt. In October 1985, while disguised as a woman,
Oh,
I think he might be gay, Petro was arrested and incarcerated after he was found to be in possession of firearms, homemade explosives, and propaganda. I'm not sure the last one's justified, but in context, perhaps the other two were. So this is the guy who was seen like parading around with a tranny who he's not married to whilst being married to someone else. Not great. And as Pumat says, the tranny chase is also cross-dresser. What a surprise. So just to give a sort of
Pikachu face.
just to give a sort of profile of the guy that we're dealing with here, who has already capitulated, not exactly the image of masculinity. Let's move on to the next thing, though. Yes, what do you think of this? Is this good for the white race?
Yes.
Well, maybe,
now,
but poor Elon.
Joking aside, like Elon says and does things I don't agree with, but he says and does things I do agree with. I don't know what's going on in that man's head. I don't know what he's got planned. I don't know his allegiances, but I am totally here for all the memeing. I am totally here for him as a force of memeing.
What I'm here for is the fact that the money that he's going to be throwing around, whilst it may not be aimed exactly as I would aim it, is going to do a lot more good than harm, I suspect. And there's a lot of it, lot of money as well. So that's probably for the best. The fact that this really unfortunate picture came up just after he's being widely defamed, frankly, with doing a Nazi salute, which is unfair.
Technically, it was a Bellamy salute, not a Nazi salute.
Sure, but that's what people are claiming. Just after that's happening, and then this happens, just this one picture, it could have been any frame out of them, but it just happens to be one where he looks like Hitler because of the flag, right next to the AfD, where AfD had been widely accused of being Hitler in Germany. That's not fair at all, but they've been accused of that because that's obviously how the politics is going to shake out.
No, it's not fair at all, but in Germany, it's easy to get called that by all the cunts in charge.
Of course, that's what they were going to call them. It's so obvious, but this is just really unfortunate, I think. But yeah, it's still kind of funny. Speaking of Elon,
I said on a stream recently that one of the reasons why all these anti-white people and the globo homo people, the reason why they don't like men like Trump or Elon Musk to talk is even though Trump and Elon Musk aren't like, wild identitarian blood and soil types, there's the same reason they want to shame and defame and silence men like Elon and Trump is the same reason why most of the Hitler speeches that you see on English television don't show you the proper subtitles of what he's saying. Is these people don't want whites, any of us, of any of our countries. They don't want us to even comprehend there could be a charismatic, powerful man that loves his people more than he loves money. They don't want us to think that's even a possibility. That's why for decades and decades, no one gets to hear the actual beautiful speeches that Goebbels wrote for Hitler, where he's going on about the love of his people and everything and anything is worth it, no matter how poor you have to be, no matter what you have to give up for the well-being and the future of your children. They don't want us to even comprehend there could be strong, influential white men willing to say that publicly. And I don't think that Trump and Elon are foaming at the mouth to say those things. But that is the same reason why they want to silence and shame these men, is they don't want whites thinking that there could ever be a leader for us again that actually puts our well-being above things like money and the global socialist project.
There's similarities there. I can agree with part of that. I think that though some of our enemies do view this as being about race, I wouldn't put it that way. It's more about almost anything that's good in history. And I'm kind of reluctant to say this because there will be some exceptions, but let's say the vast majority of things that have been good in history have had a strong male leader.
Yes.
And that's what you need, ultimately, to rescue a nation, to drive an empire, to create a great movie, to create a good, you can do it by the means, but most of the time that's what works.
Yep.
Elon is not exactly what I would call a strong male, except that he has fuckloads of money. And that makes him strong just by that fact. So him throwing that money around is important. Trump is a strong male, and other sort of right-wing insurgent leaders are also sometimes strong males. So that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of their opponent actually getting effective leadership, white or not, I think.
Indeed. And I think that another thing that Elon has going for him is the male superpower of autism.
Yes. Yeah. I wouldn't call the kind of autism he has exactly a superpower. It's given him significant stat imbalance, I think, but does probably create unexpected outcomes. Revelon says, unfortunately, Elon has a fragile ego. I suspect so, yeah. He's a bit of a kid. But right now he's into rockets, like kids, and he's into hating socialists like some kids, and that's okay. We can deal with that. Because I can
work with that. That's all right.
Yeah, the money is more likely to go to the right places than the wrong places. Sure, he's not giving it to Farage anymore, I don't think, and I think it's probably better that he does. He's giving it to the AFD. That's fine. He wants to give it to Tommy Robinson. That's fine. Probably it's more right than wrong. Let's put it that way. So
yeah. I think that he means well.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, to never forget about Musk. He's a weirdo transhumanist, wants to go to Mars type of guy. He wants to be an immortal robot and be the first one to terraform Mars. Like, never forget that's who he is. Okay. Like, I don't think Elon is ever going to speak in pro-white terms. I don't think Elon is ever going to be, Yahoo Turbo America because of the American people. I think that he will only say and do those things because they will let him be Super Robot Man who terraforms Mars. Never forget that about him.
That is his goal. Trump. I think his goal is just to be loved by as many people as possible, particularly his own people, which is a very good goal for a politician. Elon's, as you say, it is a bit different, but they're very compatible right now, and that's okay. We can deal with that at this time.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy that we have Elon and Trump, or we wouldn't be this far. They're doing good stuff.
Mostly Trump, but Elon is helping, I think. And speaking of Elon, the Department of Government Efficiency, we have something on them. Come on, Twitter. Maybe I need a processor upgrade, chat. If you'd like to contribute to help me to get an upgraded processor, you can contribute via tip.uzalu.net or fund.uzalu.net. I'm not even sure if a processor would help with this specific loading issue, but couldn't hurt. The DOGE team is looking for world-class talent to work long hours, identifying and eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. These are full-time salaried positions for software engineers, infosec engineers, financial analysts, HR professionals, and in general, all competent and caring people. Apply here. So the contradiction of the department for reducing government job size, hiring en masse, not lost on me. However, I think it's maybe that kind of thing where you have to invest to speculate to accumulate.
Yeah.
They're employing just enough people. I'm willing to give them that benefit of the doubt. We'll see what happens. I think it's very possible that they could eliminate a lot of waste from the US government, and they do need people to do that, administrators and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's fine. We'll see where that goes. But if anyone in chat needs a job, honestly, give it a try. Even if you haven't been able to find a job anywhere else, you could say a lot of people will be signing up for these, but less signing up for these than most other government jobs, I would imagine. I don't think there'll be many leftists signing up for it unless they intend to subvert, I suppose. But yeah, give it a look. Let's see what's next. And good luck to them. We don't really know yet how successful they're going to be. But
I'm just glad they fired Vivek.
I'm not sure what happened there. Fired may be the wrong word, but I'm not sure what happened there. Vivek,
fired is more funny to say.
Fair enough. Vivek, it appeared, had earned his wealth by what may have been a scam. So Indian through and through. I liked a lot of what Vivek said. We always felt like we couldn't exactly trust him, and it does kind of seem like he's out of the picture now. So I don't think we'll have to think about it very much. He might come back in, but His position on H-1B wasn't very helpful, and he's not quite as wealthy as Elon, so he's gone. So fucking, I don't know. That whole situation's very imperfect, but
zero Jeets in government.
Roughly zero Gs.
That's a good goal. That's a good goal.
Sure. Busek says Vivek absolutely got shit canned. He very well might have done. We don't know, but he very well might have done. Cybersmith says, isn't Mr. Ramaswamy planning to run for some position in Ohio? Maybe. I hadn't heard about that. I'm more interested in what Carrie Lake is doing, which we do have something on her today. But Cybersmith, if you have anything on that, do let me know. Do link it in here if you can. Can we get Cybersmith added into enrollment, please? Would you guys mind? He should probably have recognized at least. Geo says it's governor. That's interesting. So we'll see what happens there. I wonder if the people of Ohio will trust him enough after this. A lot of them probably don't like the idea of cheats either. Okay.
Ohio's a mixed bag. It's about 50-50 pro-Democrat, pro-Republican, and then you have your different groups that want different things within that. Ohio is a mixed state when it comes to that shit. So who knows?
Okay. Someone that says the Ohio State Senate may vote Vivek in to fill the Senate seat vacated by Jorkin DePenis Vance. Did you know that was what the JD standard for, by the way? He's also talked about running for governor of Ohio. Okay. Sabathis says, what if you were made ambassador to India? Yeah, I can think of worse positions for Ramaswamy. What is this thing you are inducting me into? I will not give you a blood sample. No, you're okay. It's just to give you a role to allow you to do a bit more stuff in the server. The first role is usually given to people when they're just active a little bit, so that we know they're not just a hostile element. So, and you're not, so that's fine. Beyond that, we would have to sort of gain some trust, learn who you are as a person. But don't worry, we won't judge you on the basis of anything that you've done that's shall we say, outside activity won't be the only basis on which we judge you. Though we do have a strong culture of banter and mockery
it's in the meme system,
which we believe enforces high quality individuals to be trusted. But be careful, Cybersmith. You are most welcome here.
There it is.
If you are. Anyway.
It's getting pretty late for me. I'll need to head out soon too. I can hang out until you get in another voice guest though, if you want, if there's somebody ready to come on.
Let's have a look and see if there's anyone in the audience. I see Quattro is in the audience. I've had him on before and that went pretty well. So Quattro, if you'd like to come on, you're welcome to. Should we ask if Cybersmith wants to come on? Motch, what do you reckon? Cybersmith says there's an 8+ hour documentary on me. Trust me, I'm used to it. Yeah, Cybersmith, I don't want you to operate under false premises here. I have been made aware of who you are, but you are in a free speech server. You are welcome to speak your mind here. I cannot guarantee you won't be mocked.
Who is Cybersmith? Who is that?
You will probably be mocked.
Years, I can't do that to you.
You are welcome to stay here.
I can't do that to you. I can't tell you.
All right, Quattro, ping me when you're ready.
You bastard!
Years, you may care to read that. Quattro, ping me when you're okay. You're ready. You're ready. Fantastic. Let's move you in. Quattro and Years, how old are you two?
Hello.
Years, I think it might be better, Years, if you're going to read that thing that you were just linked. If you are intending to leave the host room, then maybe it's better for you to read that whilst you're not in here, because you're going to want to spend attention on what was said. That's up to you. You can leave whenever you like.
I mean, if I have somebody interesting to talk to or argue with, I'll stay because I love that.
Fair enough. Oh, he's just in audience right now, but he says he does have a mic. I'll leave it up to Motch whether you think it's a good idea to bring him on or not. Yes, Cybersmith. I feel like that might suit your particular interests. I think people will be very interested to hear your deepest thoughts here. Again, cannot guarantee they won't mock you. They will mock you. But hopefully, since you're used to that, as you say, and since you probably recognize that your ideas are not that conventional, maybe you understand that that's fair, but they will still give you a chance to express yourself and probably respond to anything serious you say. In kind. Yeah, I think that'll be all right, but, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, as I said, I'll leave that decision up to you, Motch, if you think it's a good idea to bring him on as a stream guest. We can commentate on American politics together, but maybe we'll wait for a
Why
next
the
time.
hell not?
I'll hang out for a while. This could be interesting.
All right.
I was unable to read that thing because even when I opened it in browser, I didn't have the option.
Let me send you the original image because I think putting it in the meme system compressed it.
It did.
Oh,
Jesus
either way, I'm
Christ.
sure this will be interesting.
Yeah. Welcome, Quattro, to the stream. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
Always a
pay much
pleasure.
attention when you came in. Yes. So yeah, I can't remember who sent the invite to Cybersmith, but it ended up working. Okay. All right. We already had this one earlier, so we can go past this.
Yeah,
What's
we had
next?
this one earlier.
In a different form. Yeah. Today won't be a very long stream, Cybersmith. So if you do come on, you won't be sort of required or asked to stay for that long. We'll probably be going for another maybe an hour.
No. We'll ping Aiden and we'll go till 6 in the morning. It's fine.
Oh no.
Okay, so Trump officials have issued quotas to ICE officers to increase the number of arrests from a few hundred a day to at least 1,500. So this is the thing I mentioned earlier. Summersmith said, that's fine, I wasn't planning to sleep. Okay. Summersmith, ping me when you're ready and I'll drag you in. Me, but that's fine. I guess you can't see who's talking. It's Uzalu. I'm going to drag you in now because I assume that's you saying you're ready. All right, welcome, Cybersmith.
Hello.
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 Now, what stream? Yes, here we go. Hopefully there's no echo. Can you hear
Seems
me?
fine. Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Oh, hello. Yes, I got invited here a few months ago. Wasn't really sure what it was all about, but no, happy to be in. I said I'm not planning to sleep. I need to reset my sleep schedule. It's been all messed up.
Oh, God. We're finding we have things in common. No! Yeah, I have to do
Funny how
that
that
sometimes
works,
as well.
isn't
Yeah.
All right. American Lighthouse sounds like a younger Uzalu, oddly enough. How dare you? How dare you? All right, let's read on about this. So, the quota. Trump officials issue quotas to ICE officers to ramp up arrests. The administration wants to increase the number of arrests from a few hundred per day to at least 1,200 to 1,500, increasing the chances that non-criminals will be detained. So, as we saw, the last day we have a record for, I think was 25th, was 900 and something ICE arrests, and they're trying to increase that to 1,200 to 1,500. Generally speaking, sounds like a good thing. Now, quotas, as I said earlier, I don't think they're advisable because they can create artificial supply where there isn't any. But in this case, there is so much genuine supply, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But I'm still a bit concerned. What do you guys think?
The old maxim that when a metric becomes a goal, it ceases to be a useful metric.
Yeah,
True. There is that, but I would assume that they have some internal, like maybe this is me being overly naive or overly generous. I would assume they have some internal metric as to how many people there actually are that need to be deported, and then they're creating these quotas on that basis, and the quotas are basically just to keep the lowest level ICE agents honest.
Yes, you definitely hope so.
Yes, if that's the case, then no, this is reasonable. As with any process, that you want to start small, then try to optimize the process. So you look for issues and inefficiencies and problems, and once you've identified them, you increase the workload. Eventually, of course, the quota will drop much lower when they've gotten everyone out and they're just deporting at the rate that illegals come in, which, incentives being what they are, will hopefully drop substantially.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so too. Sort of like the Enoch Powell approach of, you want the carrot and the stick. Like,
absolutely. Once you've,
Mhm.
And a lot of people are going to stop coming if they realize they'll just be sent back. I guess people who are trying to build up frequent flyer miles might try, but everyone else is just going to realize there's no point coming in if it just results in deportation. So that alone ramps down deportation. Another part of it is that a lot of people come over because they are participants in a criminal network. And the more people you deport, the less power the criminal network has. Many of the people participating in people smuggling were themselves smuggled into the country. That's the same here. It may be less so in the USA because just logistically crossing a land border is less difficult than crossing a water border. But the more people you get out, yes, but the more people you get out, the harder it will be for them to bring new people in, and the fewer economic incentives there will be. A great many of these people presumably are members of crime syndicates.
Essentially, as you solve the problem, it solves itself more and more because there's less of the problem there in the first place. So, yes, that's true.
On top of that, there's also the self-deportations.
As Toast said, that's only 2.2 million. Now, I don't know if he meant per year or over 4 years, but it probably is true that this is nowhere near enough. And this is every day, but it probably needs to be a lot higher than that for the US to get noticeable numbers. As you said, that wouldn't even be enough for the UK, let alone the US. The US probably needs to deport 30 million or more.
Yeah, there are still dozens of millions of legal immigrants here that we also need to get rid of. That's going to be the most difficult part. And that's where the carrot and the stick comes in with the Enoch Powell approach. You don't need death camps and crazy hit squads and shit like that to make people get out. You just start shifting the country and changing the socioeconomic advantages and disadvantages to benefit the real citizens. So the fake citizens want to go home or just don't have a good time. And that problem sorts itself out without violence and without all the extreme crazy shit.
The incentives are the way to do it. The best way to solve a problem is to create a situation that converges towards a solution reliably.
Absolutely. Yeah. Control the incentives and you influence on a large scale human behavior. But I have a question. How many illegal immigrants are full-time people and how many because they're like unofficial guest workers who are basically just in there so that people can exploit lack of taxation and lack of oversight? How many of them basically circulate out automatically, which means if you increase border security, they can get out, but they can't then come back in. So how many illegal residents are permanent illegal residents?
It's difficult to know for sure, but an estimate that I saw once was around a third of illegal immigrants don't want to stay. They come here for work or for crime or to get stuff or to check on their family or to get seasonal jobs, that kind of thing. But again, it's difficult to know because they aren't documented.
So once you increase border security, that group just gradually falls away over time due to attrition. Build the wall, and that third of the problem just goes away.
Yeah,
just naturally over time. They don't need to be deported.
And there are plenty more also within that group who are only in the US or the UK or wherever else because the incentives are nice for them. If you were to, for example, significantly cut benefits to that kind of person, however you would do that, in the UK, you would get massive numbers of people self-deporting. So there's only a relatively small number of them left, maybe a third, maybe a half, that would stay despite the incentives and despite the immigration policy. It may be way less than a third or a half. It may be a quarter or an eighth or something. They're the ones you need to target deporting. So it may be that ICE only needs to deport this many. And I think they're right now focusing on actual criminals, Toast. But it's more likely that once they've got the really important ones, the ones that are probably hardest to catch, which is the right thing to target first, after that, they'll start going through their list of, okay, here's all the legal but overstayed visas. We know roughly where they are or where they were last seen. They'll be a lot easier to find, most likely, than the criminals, especially many of them hardened criminals who have come into the US and just scattered. A lot of them are on lists. They have addresses. People know where they are, and they probably aren't the priority to target. But once they get to them, the numbers may go up a lot faster.
And of course, ideally, if this does snowball and we continue to have men in charge who actually want this problem to be fixed, you will again start reaching the level where many of them who are even here legally or kind of legally, they just won't want to stay here anymore because they realize it's not for them anymore. And they'll just leave of their own accord to go elsewhere, whether back to their home country or somewhere else that wants them. And so the problem is, like you guys said, as things start to get better, many of these problems will be self-correcting if the ball keeps rolling.
Question. Here in the UK, it's going to be a bit difficult because the only way for someone who is completely without documentation to self-deport is to smuggle themselves out again. So that is possibly a bit of an issue with our self-deportation. There is no existing infrastructure if you don't have a passport to leave the UK, unless you're very good at swimming.
Right.
In the USA, I think you basically just have to don't extend the wall all the way to the Pacific until those people are gone. Once they're gone, you extend the wall to the Pacific.
I expect that US border control, if they are met with a Mexican saying, I want to go back to Mexico, will say, okay, bye. There won't even need to be much of a check, I doubt.
No.
That would be difficult. The process, obviously, from the UK is different because there's water to get over, and that requires commission of action.
Yeah.
But if we have a politician who's willing to change the incentive so that they want to leave, that politician is likely to also want to provide them a way to leave. And I don't mind. I'm not happy about too much taxpayer spending on immigration-related issues, but if it's to let them self-deport, I don't mind the taxpayer paying for a few boats.